Hi, I just want to quickly jump on to do an intro to today's video. So welcome to my channel, Empty Nest Wandering Feet. The title says it all, so I want to talk about MPF. In the past, I don't think Hong Kong employers, most companies do a very good job when they onboard new employees to their company pension scheme. Normally, I think in the first week when we join a new company, the HR department will come along with a bunch of documents, right, and maybe a brochure listing all the different fund constituents that are available for you to choose. But the problem is, right, for most people, it's a little bit confusing. I mean, you know, you hear of all the investment jargons, but you really don't know how to choose. And I think because of the confusion, I've known some people just rather not choose anything and default to the most conservative option, which is a really poor decision in the long run, especially if you're young. And when I say young, let's say, you know, if you're in your 20s, 30s and 40s, because you have time on your side to let your money ride through all the different cycles. So you know, right, the market can go up and down. So because you have a long time horizon, you can afford to ride out if the market happens to be down, right? So that's why you should maybe take a more aggressive choice when you're choosing your funds, right? Because normally high risk, high return, but within reason, right? So I think, and it doesn't have to be complicated. So I've seen, you know, I've read articles, I've watched other videos, and some of the experts really come along and they really know their stuff. But I think they can also make it sound super complicated, and it doesn't have to be like that. So today I'm going to take you through the MPFA website, and there's actually one page on there where you can just click two buttons and then you can sort by performance, and straight away you can see, based on the scheme that your company has contracted with, all the available fund options, and from there you can see what you have chosen against the performance of the, you know, of the best, if you like. Then you can make a decision based on that. Because ultimately, right, I mean, whether you invest in equities, fixed income, bonds, conservative market, money markets, guaranteed, right, really all we care about is the performance, right? We want to make sure the money works for us, so that when we come to retire, it has grown to a nice little pot. Now at this stage, I think it's probably a good point for me to mention that I'm not giving you investment advice. I'm not telling you, right, which market you should invest your money in. I'm giving you the tool so that you can take a look yourself at a website where you can see very quickly what you have picked against what are available, right? And hopefully by looking at that, you can come to a decision on whether you pick the right funds or not, first of all, and then if not, then you know what you should switch to. Because I'm not a certified financial planner, but this is exactly the steps I go through when I decide on which funds to pick on. And in fact, more recently, because a couple of our kids have started internship in the summer, so they've had to pick their MPF fund as well, you know, what to invest in. And this is exactly the same steps I'll walk them through as well. Next thing I want to point out is that, in fact, last year, the government, in a bid to encourage people to save more money, they've actually pushed out a tax deductible voluntary contribution option, which means, right, that they're giving you an amount. So I think for the tax year 2019 to 20, there's a maximum of investing an extra 60,000 per year into your pension. So you can't get that money out until you are 65, but it's your money and you invested it, and that's tax deductible. So what that means is, right, if you are a 12% tax rate person, then straight away by investing into this tax deductible fund, it means you save 12% already, so you win already, right? So I think, right, if your circumstances allow it, that you can spare 60,000 per year, I think, you know, which means like a $5,000 per month, then I think you should think about taking advantage of that, because I do think it's a you know, if you can get tax deducted from that, why not? So okay, I'll leave it at that. I'm trying to keep my video shorter, and then next you go through the actual website. I'll take you through, right? And before I go, as usual, right, if you like my videos, please consider subscribing, because that really help me out, and also liking my video and sharing if possible. Thank you. Bye bye. You know, for governmental or quasi-governmental website, this is actually not too bad. So obviously, as per usual, the link will be in my description at the bottom of the video. And the first place I want to take you to is under MPF Education. So they have two calculators here, which you might find fun to play around with. So, but again, right, for this type of calculator, there are an awful lot of assumptions involved. So you've got to take the information with a pinch of salt, with a grain of salt. But here, right, so you know, you need to decide what your life expectancy is going to be. So you can play around with that. I mean, that's the whole point of it, right? So it gives, you know, different scenario. It will show you what your money is going to do, your need is going to be, right? And then the expected rate of return for the investments and the expected inflation rate. I mean, a lot of that, you know, you can get historic information by Googling online. The other calculator is also, I want to highlight a couple of things there. So this one's for calculating your projected MPF accrued benefits. And here, really, I want to show you is that, so obviously, right, Hong Kong MPF's been up and running for 20 years, since year 2000. So they have quite a lot of data available. So through the information they've accumulated over the years, they have the kind of average return under different asset class. So as you can see here, equity return 3.9%, a bond fund average at about 2.6%. But if you look at all the safe alternatives, right, the money market funds and the guarantee fund, these are returning a paltry 0.6%, 0.7%, and 1.1%. So these are not even hedging, giving you hedge against inflation, because I think historic inflation rate has been, I think, at 2.8 up to 3.6. So this is nowhere near. If you got your money parked in these conservative funds, you're actually losing out. So these are the two calculators I really want to show. So the main place I want to take you guys to is under Information Center here on the right hand side, and then under Fund Information. So let's go in here, right, the MPF Fund Platform. So it takes you to a slightly different page. The first place I want to go to is the performance chart. And really, this is just a graphical depiction of what we saw earlier, right? So again, the equity fund, so it gives you the range of return based on 5-year annualized return and 10 years, right? So the green is for 10 years and the blue for 5 years. So by far, the equity funds are giving you the much higher return at, you know, double digits. But at the same time, though, it's also has the lowest return as well, right? The highest negative return, where you can lose the most money, right? Minus 7.29. And that makes sense, right? Because high risk, high return, and equities has the highest volatility. If you come down, the mixed asset fund, which is a combination of normally equity and bonds and sometimes cash, that has less of a range, right? So it protects you on the downside. So nowhere near the minus 7 seen above. But at the same time, though, it's also capping you at the positive side, right? So you're not getting double-digit return. But if you look further down at the safe alternatives, the guarantee fund, the money market fund. So here, right, there's hardly any volatility. So it's mainly in the positive territory. And I understand why people want to invest in that, because there's little chance of you losing right? Seeing negative numbers. But at the same time though, it's not protecting you from inflation. So you are in fact losing. You know, if you have your money in one of these safe funds, you are losing. Your money is not it doesn't have the same buying power after inflation. So this is really what I want to show you in a kind of chart form. So now that we have seen this, I want to take you, so this is the main page I'm going to go to, right? And I know on this page it looks very noisy. There are lots of things going on and it's a little bit off-putting. But I want to reassure you, right, that you don't need to put in hardly anything, right? Because, for instance, trustee, it's not like you can choose which trustee you're going to go with, right? So your company has already decided on that. So you join your company, and on the first day or the first week, your HR will tell you which of the scheme your MPF is going to be with. So based on that, you just click on the scheme. So for instance, if your company is decided to, I think Fidelity is a pretty popular one, and I have no affiliation with any of these, so I just want to show you a few. So click on the one where your company has contracted with, let's say Fidelity, and click OK. That's all you need to do, right? Click OK, and then at the bottom here, you pull up all the constituent fund under Fidelity Retirement Master Trust, right? And then you need to go to the right hand side, so really just clicking two buttons, and then click on the annualized return under 10 year. And so that filter is going to sort all the funds based on the 10-year annualized return from the highest to the lowest. So the highest one is giving you 8.11% per year on average. And again, no surprise here, it's an equity fund. It's a global equity fund here, right? And if you go down and look at some of the bond funds, so it's a slightly more conservative investment. So correspondingly, right, the return is much lower, 2.14. And if you go further down and look at the, do they have money market? They don't seem to have money market here. So really the most, oh yes they do, here, the money market fund, MPF conservative, right, it's giving you 0.13, right? I mean, that's abysmal. That's less than 0.5% per year. You just waste, it's a wasted opportunity here, right? So that's Fidelity. So let's try another one, just to show that, you know, I'm not biased in favor of Fidelity. Let's pick, for instance, BCT. I think BCT is also very popular because it's relatively cheap for the employer. Right, so click on BCT. So as you see on the top, you have two selected. So you do have the option of clicking on multiple, because I think for some of us, if you work for different employers, so you might have your MPF, you know, with your previous employer at a different company. So you can actually put, you know, as many as you like and do a comparison based on that. But you know, for the sake of here, I don't want it to be so noisy. So I'm going to unclick Fidelity and just look at BCT offering here. Right, so again, just BCT OK. So that's just one button, and go to the bottom, go to the right hand side, click on 10-year, and then sort based on a 10-year annualized return. Right, come down. So again, right at the top here, so no surprise, again, another global equity fund, and it's giving you 6.68 per year over the past 10 years on average. Right, so if you go down and look at some of the more conservative ones, so bond fund is returning 1.92, and again money market fund, right, 0.33. I mean, that's nothing. That's nothing. And if you, this is annualized, right? We look at the cumulative, so that means over the whole of the 10 years was what your money has, what the return has been, right? So at the top fund, you would have more or less doubled based on 19.92%. But if you have invested in one of the more conservative ones, right? Let's find that money market one again. So over whole of 10 years, your money would have only given you a return of 3.39. I mean, that's heartbreaking, really, right? So what I want you to do after you watch this is to click on the link, go to this page, go at the top here, and select the scheme that you're currently with, right? And then okay, and then sort it by 10 years. And then look and compare where your money is currently invested, which fund, and compare to the top performing ones, right? And you should really do this once a year at a very minimal, and be as aggressive as you can, especially if you're young, if you're in your 20s and 30s and even 40s, right? Now, obviously, the common belief, the common wisdom is that as you're nearing your retirement age, you should be more conservative, right? So move away from the equity funds and move to, the safer, money market or the bond funds. Now, that is up to the individual. I personally don't believe in that. I think you only need to do that if you know you definitely need that money as soon as you are able to withdraw it, let's say at 65. So if you need that money straight away, then there's really no margin for you to ride it out if it happens to be a down market at that time, right? But on the other hand, if you do have the flexibility to ride it out, then you can leave your money in the equity fund, even if it's a bear market, right? If the market tank, right, you can just wait it out, because history has shown it will come back up again. It's a matter of time. So look at it. Just do a quick comparison to where your money is currently and compare to what better options there may be. And to make changes is actually really easy nowadays, right? You have your online login for whichever scheme, MPF scheme you're with. And often within the online portal, you can do the fund switching straight away. So this is not, you don't need to call them up, you don't need to mail any form in. You can do all that online, just through your own login account. So do that, and I hope if you are able to comment in the comment, and just let me know what you did, and what what you found out, and whether you did make any changes or not. So good luck with that. It really is quite easy, right? And I will hate to see you guys losing out on the chance to earn the return that you should be getting, so that the money works for you for retirement. Okay, thank you.